Well, welcome to Jackie's Hand of Horror. This is a very special episode because we're actually sitting in a hotel room in Seattle, in Tacoma actually, for Crypticon Seattle, where we had the world premiere of Manos Returns. Today I'm sitting here with Nudia.
Hello.
Tanya.
Hello.
And myself, and our very, very special guest, Diane Mahree, who played my mother in the original Manos in 1966. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Jackie. How are you today?
Great. So today you are our interview. You're our special interview. So we're gonna talk a little bit informally here.
Okay.
This is your first con, like you just said before we got on here, that you're a virgin, but you're no longer a con virgin.
You know,
you've been indoctrinated with all the rest of us.
I have.
So what was it like for you here?
You know, I had no idea what to expect. I'm not a, horror film person per se, and but it was really fun. It has a very family kind of. I don't mean family in the sense that families should all come. I just mean family in the sense that everybody that's here is kind of makes a loose knit family.
Yeah.
And everybody's friendly, and everybody tries to help everybody else and make connections. And it's great for making connections in the film world.
It sure is. I mean, the networking, and it's my fourth year coming up here. My second as a guest, but I still come up the years I'm not a guest because it is like family. And that's exactly how we've all described this con.
Actually, that's how Manos Returns got started, right?
That's right. Yeah, we all pretty much met here. I mean, Crypticon is our base.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And so tell us, where do you live? And
I live in the Four Corners area of Colorado, and around Dolores.
Okay.
And I've been in that area for first I was in Telluride for 15 years. And then I've been down in the Four Corners area for 23 years, so 38 years altogether.
Okay.
Spent in that area.
Now tell us, you've told me, but tell our audience here, you were in Manos, The Hands of Fate in 1966, and it's kind of funny because you're only 14 years older than me, so you would have been my mother at 14,
And my husband in the movie, Hal Warren, was in his 50s at least, and I said, this is kind of weird, I have a 6-year-old, and anyway, and he said, oh yeah, it makes it more interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
that mean that he finds that interesting?
That might be one of the interesting things about Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Among so many others.
So, but you've said before that you thought it was funny after the career that you've had that you seem to be best known for this film. Tell us a little bit about your career.
Well, I kind of started in Denver. Somebody would see me and say, hey, have you ever modeled? And then they take some pictures and they give them to an agent. And so I started at John Robert Powers in Denver. I think they're still in existence there. And then I went to Hawaii, and there was a really good English woman there, Elizabeth something, and she liked me, so I did a lot of muumuus and bikinis, and for her Liberty House, a big store there, and they did a lot of advertising. And then I was on my way to Europe, and I stopped in New London to help a friend open a restaurant, and this guy came in and he said, oh, I was a New York photographer and I just retired, but I have this job, and have you ever modeled? And I said, well, a little bit. And so he he used me for this job, just random pictures, clothing. And so then he came in like a week later and said, I have a big surprise for you. I sent your pictures to Eileen Ford, and she wants to see you. And so my friend and I were on our way to Europe, and we had very little money, but we fantasized we were going to stay there for a year, somehow. And we were used to not having any money. And so I said, well, I'm on my way to Europe, but I'll go by and see her, And Eileen was really into attitude. And I think it was because, he said, are you crazy? Every girl in the country would love to have, Eileen Ford want to see them. And I was just like, well, yeah, but I'm on my way to Europe. And so I went in with this really, I don't care if you like me or not, attitude. And I think that's probably what did it. They talked about it, and she came out and she said, well, we're going to take you. And I said, well, that's really flattering, but I'm on my way to Europe. And she said, well, how long do you intend to stay there? And I said, a year. And she goes, well, we don't take girls over 20. And I was 24 at the time, but I actually looked about 16. And so she said, we're taking you because you look 16, and you have to tell everybody that you're 16 because they don't want to invest in your career, and then you're too old to do it, I was already, by their terms, too old to do it, So
Wow.
I said, okay, I'll think about it. So I went to the airport, baggage in hand, with my friend, and I was like, should I stay or should I go? And finally I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay here, and I'll try it out for a month. Well, let's see, I guess it was about 16 years later, I was getting out of it, I just, okay, that's enough.
Wow.
But, and I did have several offers to do film at that time, but I just thought, it's more of this life. And while I enjoyed it, I loved it. I lived in Europe. I lived in Paris and Milano mostly. And you get in Europe, you travel a lot more. And there's so many countries and so many magazines that, there's a lot more work. So it's easy to break into, and so I stayed in Europe and worked for 16 years.
Wow. And you hung out with some pretty famous, amazing people, too.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Brigitte Bardot was a friend of a guy I was going out with, and so we hung out with her some. And Rod Stewart with American Vogue, they had made, they have these travel deals, and they actually pay for that. Maybe I'm revealing trade secrets, but they actually pay to have Vogue and come and say, oh, Australia is a great place to visit, And so they were doing with a store there named Sports Girl, they were doing a nationwide, Australian-wide tour of, we modeled, and they were big, charity events, and the governors, or whatever they call them, of the different areas would be there, and all the shishis and whatever. And it just so happened that Rod Stewart was on tour there at the same time. And so we ended up kind of being on the same tour, like we were in the same hotels, And I was with this fresh young face who was the darling at that moment. They booked us as the world 2 top models, and that was a bit of a leap, I thought, but whatever.
Nice billing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we had, press conferences everywhere we went, and, they'd send us flowers and fruit and all this. It was fun. And it was so fun that we ended up staying there for another week or two, much to our agent's dismay. Just stayed with friends that we had made there. And when he saw, she's like 6 feet tall, And she's just gorgeous. I mean, she's Irish. She's I don't know what they call a lady in waiting, or so. Her mother, Lady and Lord Beresford. Okay. And so she was kind of royalty, which really, I mean, I bet it's been a long time since Rod Stewart was tongue twisted like that. You know, he could barely talk to her. He was just like, oh my God. And she was just stunning. And, you know, the big blue Orphan Annie eyes and curly hair, natural curls, you know. And so he was quite taken. And so, you know, we all kind of hung out together. And if you know the song, what was that called? Hot Legs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's written about her.
Is that right? Oh, very
She got off
cool
of the plane in Australia, and she had on a bright yellow little top and these, you know, shorts, and she had legs up to there. And everybody was just like, what? Including Rod Stewart. So we hung out with him in the band for a while. It was really, really a fun time. And
you have many fascinating stories, and I would suggest maybe we can get some pictures of her book, and we can post them in the link or something. So we can show. You want to share, yes, we can show her career as a model. Because it's really interesting.
You'd like to share, we'd love to put that, because we have our Facebook page, Jackie's Hand of Horror, that we do links and visuals that relate to our podcast.
I have some pictures with me. And
wonderful.
I saw them yesterday.
Wonderful. And of course we've got pictures from this weekend too.
You know, it was kind of ironic. I have some original from Manos. Pictures that were taken by a photographer that hung around and took pictures of Manos being filmed. And, you know, he gave me a whole stack of them, and I just kind of threw them in a box. And then, okay, there was another attempt to do a sequel to Manos. Yes. And it ran out of money kind of in the middle. But we were there in El Paso to do that, and my mother had just died, and so I let some of the crew and stuff stay at her house, and I was staying there, and so I was cleaning out stuff, and my book and all of my pictures had disappeared, you know. They were stolen, basically. And so I really didn't have any modeling pictures. And I thought, well, just as well, you know. Who wants to be known as a used-to-be model anyway? But so I'm cleaning out things, and I find this box, and I open it, and it's all the pictures that I'd sent my mother from Europe, you know, because a lot of them were magazines that you can get them here, but you couldn't really get them there, you know, like Marie Claire or Marie France or, you know, a lot of the foreign magazines. So she had kept them all. And in with them is this stack of Manos pictures. And it was so odd, the timing, you know, because I hadn't had anything to do with Manos for 35, 40 years.
Yeah, a long time.
And then all of a sudden, which is another story, why I came back into the fold. But all of a sudden, I'm doing this sequel, and I find this stack of pictures.
It's the will of Manos.
While they were there.
I was going to say the same, the will of Manos. Yes, I agree.
Manos is watching.
That's right.
Yes. So that was all kind of fun. And so you had asked me to bring some pictures if I had any. And so I made copies of those, and I was selling them here. And that did quite well.
Yeah, well, we still have some time today too. Yeah. So I think a lot of people that have wanted to meet you and come talk to us will come around the table today. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So let's move on. And since you're here, I'd love for you to join in our segment about our screening.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about, this is our movie review. That's our thumbs up. Normally on our podcast, as you know if you're a listener, we review movie trailers. We judge an entire film on a movie trailer. In this case, we're doing something a little different because we're here at Crypticon Seattle and had our world premiere of Mono's Returns on Friday night at 9 o'clock. We're going to review our own film. We're going to talk about what that screening was like. So, Nudia, why don't you start?
Well, it's been said that you are your worst critique, right? So I, excuse me, I focused mainly on my performance as criticizing it as an actress, let's say. I loved the movie. I have to say I loved the movie. I really liked the movie. We did a great job. And there was a posting in Facebook. There is a posting in Facebook from Tina Peso. And I loved the description that she made. And at the end she said, and we became family. Yeah. And it's what I love. Is the ending of the story as a cast and as a crew, that we are family. And we were saying something similar, Diane and I, this morning. All of us put our hearts in it. It's a project with love, with family, not only in the family, extended family that we have created as bond with each other, but also we involved our family. We have people that is really part of our family members in the movie. In this case, the master and Debbie in this case, right? So it's lovely. The performance is good from all of us. I love Torgo. I love Clara. I really like everybody. And there is this Easter eggs. There are some Easter eggs hidden, and it's worth watching. So I highly recommend it.
Great. Tanya, our director.
Of course, I'm biased, but I love it. I mean, I made the film to be something that's my taste, that I like. So, and I feel like I was very successful at that with everybody else's help. And I'm coming at it saying that I've watched this film hundreds of times at this point because I was involved in the editing process and reviewing all the post steps like color correction, audio, and soundtrack and everything. And so there was a time where I watched the film several times a day for many months as I was, doing this process. And I never got tired of it. You know how when you make something and you have to review it a lot or work on it a lot and you kind of get sick of it after a while? I never felt that way. And I do think part of it is because I'm looking at a group of people that are all my friends, so I don't get sick of seeing that and seeing everybody's faces, especially people that don't live near, so I miss them. But yeah, I thought it came out great. I'm really proud of everybody, and I really enjoyed the premiere, and I think people really, really responded well, even better than I expected. And I was kind of, I'm still processing that because I think it went way better than I expected it to.
Yeah.
So,
Diane.
Well, I am not an actress by any stretch, and I've never had an acting lesson. I was in high school plays or something, but mostly as a singer. That was my major. And so I went to audition for the first Monos as an extra, just people in the background or stuff, and he had me read. And then finally he said, well, how'd you like to play the lead? And I was like, what? I just laughed at him. I said, I'm not an actress. I don't know. And so...
He's talking about the original Monos.
I know, but it's a very similar story.
Oh. Oh.
I was going to be an extra, and I was suggested to take the lead role.
There you go. That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I played the lead. I can't really say I acted, but somehow in my underacting, a lot of people found that to be like, I had one film critic tell me that I was the base, because I was the normal person that everybody kind of bounced off of, And so I thought, well, I got by with that.
Yeah.
But this one, modeling gives you some acting, because they'll say, okay, you're the lady of the manor and these are your guests, and so you act like this and stuff. And when you're on the runway, they'll tell you, like, do the lion walk, walk like a lion, and things like that. So you have a little bit of acting experience. And I did a lot of commercials, and so I really tried to, express what you had asked me to express, which was, I'm kind of crazy in the movie, and I have moments of sanity and moments of crazy, and to divide them. And so that was an interesting challenge for me. And I thought, I just sort of did okay, but a lot of people came up after the screening, and filmmakers and stuff, and said, you were great in that. You're great. And it really took me by surprise, because I didn't think I was great. I thought I just kind of did what you told me. And I have to hand it to Jackie, because how I got back into this was I had a friend that somehow found out that I had done the original monos, and it started with MTSK. It started doing a, rise, and, we have a whole cult following now and everything, and they have all their ideas, this meant that, and that meant this, and whatever. It's kind of like, Alice in Wonderland or something.
Yeah.
But, so, that I had a friend who somehow found out again that I was in this, and when she heard on Facebook or somewhere that they were doing a sequel, she said, you've got to call them and tell them that you're still alive, because everyone thought that I had died in a fiery car crash, and I was just content to leave it like that. Who wants to be known as the lead in the worst movie ever made, which is what they call it. But she kept pushing me, and I kept resisting, and then they found that she had a brain tumor.
Oh.
And she was a really close friend of mine, and so she died of it. Like they gave her 3 months, and she lasted 6 months, and so I decided I would do that as a tribute to her.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And I'm really glad that I did. Yes. And then when I got involved in that one, which kind of ended in not a great way. I thought, okay, well, that's that. But then along came Jackie, the force of nature. She's pretty stubborn. And so she talked a lot and got me into this one. And I'm really happy that I did it. It is truly a family. Yes. I mean, everybody's extremely supportive of each other. There's no internal she got more lines than I did. Right. There's none of that. And it's everybody working together to try. So it was a great experience for me. And when I saw it, I was surprised because it was extremely low budget, but there's a lot of cinematic effects, I guess you call them, in the movie, and it really surprised me how good it was.
Wonderful, thank you. Hey, Rachel came in.
Hi, everybody. Conventions. It's sleeping.
Oh, yeah. We were comparing earlier. I thought I got to bed late at 2:30, but then Nudia said 3:30. And then, 3:30. You guys.
Oh, you
beat everybody. You guys y'all beat me.
Because of the drive and everything.
So we got Rachel here with her really awesome rainbow unicorn shirt. I love it. So we were just discussing our movie.
Right.
And your turn. How did you?
reviewing.
We're reviewing Mono's
We're reviewing our
Returns.
own movie?
Yes.
It's the best thing I've ever
That's not
seen. Everyone involved should get millions and millions of dollars.
Millions,
Millions. Oh, what can I say about it that isn't ridiculous? There's nothing I can say that isn't ridiculously biased, but what I feel like really works about it is that, and it struck me most this time, is that it is so, to me, in line with the original. When we were writing the script, it was really important, and I said at the panel the other night, we set down the rules. I looked at everything that was said about the world of Monos in the first movie, like everything that was definitively said, and to me those were the rules of the world. And then we kept going with that, and we tried to reincorporate some of the situations, but make them more realistic. Or like, I think you said at one point, Tanya, is like how a character would respond in real life if someone said this to them. Like the point where we have Torgo repeats a line as Torgo does, and Jay is like, you just said that. It's like, because you would do that eventually with Torgo. You'd be like, why are you always repeating yourself, dude? I mean, we're right here. And I just feel like it really fits with the first movie. Like there's sort of a nice puzzle piece thing. And that really struck me this time. I was able to sit back and kind of say, oh yeah, we got a lot of Monos into it.
Yeah. For me, I had been looking forward to this for so long, as we all have, and but I was observing myself coming up here to Crypticon, preparing, and at no point did I feel worried or nervous.
Really?
I didn't.
Lucky.
I was excited, but I didn't because I knew the whatever the audience felt and did, that I was very proud of what we did.
Oh, nice.
You know, the how I felt about what we had done was not dependent on the audience.
Oh, that's great.
You know, I was able to disconnect that. But the audience was so much more than I expected. I mean, they were so appreciative. I mean, we had a full room. John
They laugh,
said,
they clap.
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yes.
I mean,
They bring more chairs.
Yeah, they called it
Yeah.
charming. They called it, the one guy actually was like, yes, so charming. I'm like, oh, yay!
And they got the lines that were used in the original
laughed
ones.
at
They
them.
got them.
Yeah.
They acknowledged them.
I liked what, I think it was Tanya said, you know, we were trying to decide what is this attraction that, you know, people say it's the worst movie ever made. Really? Well, why does it have a worldwide audience now? And, you know, it's back after 53 years. And Tanya said something about, you know, there's a lot of mystery in this. They had a really good basic idea, but they didn't know how to develop it and express it. And so it leaves this mystery at the core of it. Like, who is Monos? What's going on here? And, you know, and some of the questions get answered, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah,
And
we
so
still leave a
maybe
lot
that
of mystery.
is what attracts people.
Yeah.
There must be some kernel of something that's basic to human nature for everybody to be attracted to it, even though they know that the actual movie was badly done.
The original movie.
Not the greatest.
The original,
Right.
you know. And so, so I just have to think of it like that, you know.
Yeah.
There's something there that draws people.
Yes.
And maybe it's the fact, that, like you said, that there's this mystery and everybody can put their own interpretation on it,
Yeah.
you know.
But I'm just so thrilled that people got it the way we wanted them to get it. You know, they see the heart in it, they see the earnestness and the love, and they can feel it.
Mhm.
Like you said, there's no internal... I mean, we really are a
Squabbling.
family. We love each other very much, and
We
we're
were
always
so supportive.
thrilled when we
And
get
we were
together.
not competitive at all.
No.
But they get that. It comes across in the film, and I am just so proud of what we accomplished.
Mhm.
Woo! All right, moving on.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about things we love. And what did we love here at Crypticon? I guess I'll start this one. I love everything about Crypticon. I just do. I come up here and I see all these familiar faces, but one thing I loved the most was I had a constant look of surprise on Friday because it seemed like every time I turned around there was somebody else that showed up that I didn't know was going to be here. I didn't know Stephen Shields or Torgo was going to be here. And I was like, what? And then I turned around and there's other people and there's our wives. And I'm like, it's just like a little kid jumping up and down and waving my arms around, And that was what I loved the most amongst everything that I loved. How about you, Rachel?
Oh, hi. Let's see. I'm going to pick one thing I love the most that I was involved in that wasn't Manos Returns, because obviously that's the best.
Yeah, it is called
Yeah.
Crypticon Seattle, not
Yes.
Manos Returns
Yeah,
Seattle.
not Manos Return. It's not ManosCon. Not yet.
Almost.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, okay, so the thing that I did that wasn't Manos Returns that I was involved in that I loved the most was I got to do the Iron Man art contest. And that was super fun. Basically, I'm a puppet builder, so I brought in a blank puppet, and I had 90 minutes to build a puppet to the theme. And it was super fun. The other artists were delightful and really super talented. I didn't win, but I got second. But I was high the whole rest of the night just from that. It was just like a bounce around. Like, I love everyone. I love everything. This is great.
Tell them what the
Share
theme
the
was.
theme.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. And the theme was Freddy Krueger as a mermaid. So if you see a Freddy Krueger as a mermaid puppet out on the interwebs, I built it because I can't imagine anyone else would have done that. The thing that I loved that I was not involved in, because I have to give props to these ladies, there's a group of women cosplaying here. I think they're women. I hope I'm not misgendering it. They're cosplaying as a mashup of Playboy bunnies and horror icons.
I saw them.
There's a Hellraiser bunny. There's an
Nice.
Ash from Evil Dead bunny.
Freddy
There's a Freddy
Krueger.
Krueger bunny. Thank you.
wow.
I was like, we were forgetting the other bunny we
Pinman.
saw. There's a blue. Sorry.
The Pin Man.
Yeah, the Hellraiser. Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
Pinman.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, Hellraiser.
Yeah, and they're such good costumes. They're so thorough, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Someone else. Tanya?
I'll go. So the things that I love enough that I'm going to drive in a diaper and kidnap are I love the vendor room and all the art in there. It's amazing. Especially I have a soft spot for the queer horror guys, Jason Davis and Anthony Hudson, who plays Carla Rossi. I love the art. I love what they're celebrating. They do stuff throughout the year in Oregon as they celebrate queer horror films, and they have film nights and other events. And I always stop by their table. I think they're great. Also, Alex Murd and Scott Roller, who do like comic book art, stylized comic book style, and their stuff's amazing, and they're nice people. And then the little zombs are like zombie plush felt little guys, and they have pins and stuff. And the guy who does those is so talented and a nice guy too. But yeah, just everyone at the vendor spot, the art is so amazing. I mean, it really is. I always want to buy one thing from every table. But also, like the staff I've encountered have been really great, and the other people here have all been really great, and so many cool costumes, nice people, and it's just been a really good experience.
Great. Nuria.
My turn. Well, in conventions in general, I'm a cosplayer, so I love cosplaying, and I appreciate seeing that in other people, and they are so creative. I sometimes feel a little bit envious of how creative they are, and I see something and I think, why I shouldn't think about that before, and I would like to mimic them or repeat that outfit maybe in another convention or something. The other thing that I really liked about specifically Crypticon Seattle 2018 is I agree with Diane. People are so good-hearted, so supportive. You can maybe think it's going to be a creepy convention, horror, and there's going to be only creepy people, maybe even outcast, misfit, or any kind of social awareness could be considered or misconceived. And is on the contrary, is the cutest, warmest, and tenderly people, caring, very, very friendly, and it turns to be a family as well.
Yes.
So that's the thing that I like about this convention.
Yeah.
Besides Manos, of course.
Yeah. And Diane, what did you love about
For
it?
me, I love to dress, and costumes are my thing. I have a whole area of costume boxes, and I use them. And everybody comes to my house to get costume, wigs or whatever, and for costume occasions, which we have often. So I really enjoyed the costumes. America, as a rule, in general, they're so afraid to be laughed at, well, somebody's going to think I'm ridiculous or something, or that's not cool,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about cool. I'm not cool anyway, so, but I just love that people really go for it here.
Yes.
And, the costumes are just outrageous. And some of the things like MST, they had the little robots here. They had the actual robots.
Yes.
And they were
right.
walking around with them, and they
Crow and
actually
Servo.
talk
Yes.
and move and stuff. And I thought that was outstanding.
Yeah, we'll post those pictures
Yeah, we
too.
got some pictures.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I really enjoyed. I love to see people express themselves. And for me, having been in the fashion world for so long, dressing is a creative act. It's not something that just whatever works or whatever is closest to you when you get up. Or, I think that there should be a lot more expression in, not necessarily costume, but in fashion and everything. Everybody should think about what they're presenting to the world, because whether you agree or not, or whether you like it or not, people are judging you on what you wear. So I love when I see people really express like that in
Yeah.
modest ways.
There's a lot of eye candy here. A lot to
Yes.
look at.
Yeah,
A lot to
yeah.
look at. Well, what a great talk we had today.
Welcome to Jackie's Hand of Horror.
Hi, Aradia. It's good to have you here again today. So today we're talking about our new movie, Manos Returns, and our trip to Crypticon. But you were not at Crypticon because you're just a kid. Not that you're just a kid. You're totally a kid, a cool kid. That's right. Doing her little dance. Yep. And but in the meantime, I went to see your play. You were in a play, and it was really cool to see you. And I want to talk about that because the reason this ties in is my director, Tanya Atomic, did a play when she was in second grade, as you are in second grade, and it was also, her play was about a jungle, yours is about a rainforest. So anyway, I want you to tell me about your play. First of all, what was it called?
Rumpus in the Rainforest.
Rumpus in the Rainforest. There was a lot of kids involved, huh?
Yeah, there's my friend Tristan, Max, Amelia. I know all of the kids in my class.
Wow.
Starting with me, Tristan, Max, Sierra, Mihaela,
Well, your whole class was in it.
yeah, every class, all four. Harriman, Tisler, Marnie Freilinger. Well,
Anyway, you don't need to
Yeah.
tell us
Yeah,
all their
no.
names. Let's talk about your experience. What was it like to be in your first school play?
For second grade, it was fun. But the only thing I didn't like is I kept yawning.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got that on film.
Yeah, it was funny.
But you were probably tired. So did you do a lot of rehearsal? Like, did you practice
Yeah.
a lot? Uh-huh.
Yeah, but since we did the rehearsal,
Rehearsal.
some people made mistakes on accident, but in like the school watching and the parents watching, there was technically no mistakes but me yawning all the time.
Oh, no, that was cute. Everybody did a great job. But you seem to really enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So you think you want to do some more acting?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you like singing?
Yeah.
You like it all, don't you? Besides the yawning, you were actually doing some extra moves that I thought was pretty cool.
Like what?
I don't know. I think your mom might have got it on video,
Like-
but yeah, well, my audience can't see you right now, but so is there anything else you want to say about being in the play?
Are you famous?
Me? With a very small group of people. Yeah. With anybody that likes Monos, The Hands of Fate, and Monos Returns, I definitely have my little bit of fan base. But beyond that, maybe just with my grandkids a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Just a random question for Grandma. Question of the day. Are you famous?
I love you. Well, thanks for being on the show again, Aradia.
You're welcome.
On this episode of
Jackie's Hand of Horror!
Well, thank you for joining us once again on Jackie's Hand of Horror. We've had another great episode here with my team, with Nudia,
Hello, everybody.
with Tanya,
This is Tanya.
Rachel,
Hi.
and myself, and our tech support, Quinn and Natalie, and the rest of the crew at the Revival League podcast.